Do you have any jokes, Callum? Because I don't have any jokes this time.
Arsenal Football Club.
Ah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Season 1,
Yes.
Episode 1.
Oh my god, a brand new TV show.
Yep.
Never
Brand new
before
show.
seen. Is this the first show that we're watching that is actively airing on the channel? Other than you watching Game of Thrones Season 8 when it came out, this might be the first time we're watching a show that's actively coming out.
Oh, I mean,
it's relevant.
When Doctor Who was coming out, I was watching it.
Yeah. Oh, and that's true. Oh, yeah, that's true. So yeah, no. So no. So the answer is no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh my god, Connor, how this is going to be weird. We're watching something completely brand new that technically neither of us have seen.
Yeah, I've read the 3 novellas, but reading and seeing are 2 different things.
Indeed. Well, reading and seeing are technically the same thing.
Yeah. And also
you're looking at the words.
Actually it was an audiobook, so I was listening. I was listening to Harry Lloyd speak to me, is what I was doing.
Oh. Well, I've been actually reading A Game of Thrones, and I've been reading and listening to the audiobook to get immersed. Mm-hmm. So, I'm actually technically reading.
Vocabulary.
That is a thing, yeah.
Yes, but this is a show that's set 90 years before Game of Thrones and 70 years after House of the Dragon.
So it's the in between those 2 shows then.
Yeah. Now, so in the TV show canon's a little weird because they deleted one of the Targaryens. At the end of Game of Thrones, which we just fucking watched, we watched that horrible garbage. Bran Stark is king. Before him, Cersei was queen. Before her, Tommen was king. Before him, Joffrey was king. Before him, Robert was king. Before him, it was Aerys II, the Mad King. And then before him, in the books, was Jaehaerys II. But they don't talk about that in the show. Because there's that one conversation that Mace Strayman has with Jon where he just doesn't mention Jaehaerys' name. I don't know why they got rid of him. He was king for like 2 years, so it's not like it was a massive deletion. But before him was Aegon the Fifth Targaryen. And before that, it's Maekar the First. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's where we are in the story. Because before Maekar is Aerys the First, before him is Daeron the Second, before him is Aegon the Fourth, before him is Viserys the Second, and before him is Baelor the First, and before him is Daeron the First, before him is Aegon the Third, before him, hang on, this is going to go quite a bit back. Before him is Aegon the Second, and then it's Viserys the First, and before him is Jaehaerys the First, which is where House of the Dragon starts. So that's where we are.
Right, okay.
This is a time of summer. This is a time where Targaryens don't have dragons. So the dragons are all dead. And House of the Dragon hasn't finished, so they don't know yet. Like, people who haven't read the books don't know how the dragons died out, apart from a few little things that they've said in Game of Thrones and the Red Keep about how the dragons died out. Like, there's a conversation with Tywin and Joffrey about the dragons and how they died out. There's a conversation with Robert about that. By the time you get to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, all the dragons are dead and the Targaryens don't have dragon fire. So, whilst they are the most powerful royal and noble house, they don't have their terrorist weapons like they do in House of the Dragon and in Game of Thrones. So this is a much, much more human show, I guess you could say. It has a lot less fantasy elements than the others. It's more of a...
it's more...
grounded
medieval. I guess
medieval.
you could say it's more of an understandable, grounded sort of story.
Yep. It also puts way more focus on, like, the small folk and, like... what would be considered side cast in the main shows. It's kind of, they are part of the main story.
I would say that it's because this world is so interesting and vast and like so much world to explore. That's like there's so much potential with sort of any sort of story you can do. It's with the kind of blueprint you have of just the world that's been set. You kind of can do anything that's related to people.
Yep. And by comparison, like the start of the Winds of Winter has 21 point of view characters, whereas Another of the Seven Kingdoms has 1. That's Dunk. Dunk is the only point of view character. So it's very, very focused around one person's journey and everything he sees. So we will be watching these episodes a little bit delayed because of just unfortunately how the schedule works. They release on a Sunday night in the US, which is just too late for us. So it is a little bit delayed, but because of that, I do get a sort of non-spoiler opinion feel from a bunch of people who've seen it. And by that,
Connor, you're letting people just influence how you feel. You can't do that. You got to just go in completely blind.
Nah.
It's ruining your experience.
I've heard from all sorts of different people who are known for having good takes that there's a bit of a mixed view on this first episode. I would say it's more positive than negative. But there's
That's
like
what I've sort of seen. It's more positive.
Yeah, it's way more positive overall, but there is one particular aspect of it that some people aren't so keen on.
I guess, Connor, we have to sort of go in with our own expectations and give our own opinions, because that's what we're here to do today.
That's true.
Yeah. And famously, our opinions are always right, and we always say that we are the gods of art and what is right and wrong.
I like that.
Yeah.
One thing I've also heard, I mean, there is that side of people who say, oh, there's these problems with it. But actually, in contrast to that, I have heard some reviewers say that there's ways they expand and actually better the source material as well. So it's a bit of both.
I mean, you know me, even though I've not read the books of this particular story, I've never been like caring about adaptation, because as long as the story's like really good, I largely don't care, because you can just look at them as two different stories.
Well, I mean, in some cases, faithful adaptation's not a good thing, because there's some books that are really bad.
Yeah, exactly. But they might have good concepts, good ideas that you can sort of pick up and rechange.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like how they're trying to apparently faithfully adapt Harry Potter again in that TV show. And if you go full...
Oh, yeah. The TV show where a lot of actors are sort of like, I don't already know about all that trans stuff that J.K. Rowling is talking about. I'm just here to do a job.
And like you say, like, within those stories, there's neat ideas and concepts, but if you completely, faithfully adapt them...
Harry Potter could be like a very good series. Easily could be a very good series.
But
there's one really good movie, and that's The Prisoner of Azkaban. That's pretty great.
That's because it's made by a guy who knows how to make things look
The director,
fucking incredible.
Alfonso Cuarón is a fantastic
However,
director.
Prisoner of Azkaban has writing issues that stem from the source material.
Oh, yeah. Are you telling me a Harry Potter film's got a lot of issues in it?
So that's why I say, if you want to watch something by Cuarón that has really good writing, watch Children of Men. That's a fucking great film.
Anyway, I actually need to see that. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, anyway, so like not all source material's good, and there are actually even examples within this canon where they've disregarded things like, how... Like, I'll give you an example. Like, in book 1, Catelyn just straight up tells Tyrion that Littlefinger snitched on him. And then he goes back to King's Landing as Hand of the King and doesn't think about having him executed, which is crazy. But in the show, they get around it by not having that conversation, and Tyrion suspects it's Littlefinger, but he can't prove it. So, there are some source material that you don't want to faithfully adapt. However, when it comes to this universe, even though you say you don't care about being faithful, what I will say is that the times when they have used George's stuff in these shows, or in Game of Thrones, for example, 9 times out of 10 you've thought it's great. So in a way, it's not exactly a terrible idea to utilize that stuff because it's quite well regarded. But at the same time, there are areas that can be expanded on, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So I've read the first season of this is based on the Hedge Knight novella, which came out in 1998. It came out before the second book, which is crazy how old it is. I think the Hedge Knight is great, and I won't say anything about why. What are your thoughts going into this first episode?
I generally have no idea what to expect, but I'm wanting it to, obviously be good, be enticing, be interesting, and sort of give me something to think about, really, as with any sort of new piece of art that I consume. I literally have no clue how good this is going to be or how bad this is going to be. I literally don't know. I haven't really looked up at anything other than just seeing a video that said Faithful Delight or something like that. I think from Gildas. I think I just saw a video of it. Didn't watch the video, but I just saw the thumbnail and title. So I know that it's positive. The reaction is mostly positive from what I've seen. So, but I literally have no clue. Got no idea what to expect.
Given the last thing we watched was season 8 of Game of Thrones.
It literally won't. It can't be worse than that.
Yeah, if you think this is worse than that, then I will owe you a lot of money.
I very much doubt that's going to be my. I doubt that's going to be my opinion.
Same. I also doubt that. I find that hard to believe.
But who knows? Maybe everyone is really, really wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first episode is 41 minutes, but then for the rest of the season, they're all like 30 to 35. They're all really short.
It's a short story.
So it's a bit of a breeze. And there's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's like a short story.
Mm.
And as much as I don't like this era of TV where everything is either 6 to 8 episodes, and sure, there's not enough time to tell a real story with how big and complex a lot of them are. Like, what show at the moment is like 6 to 8 episodes that's like really, really great? Can't
years
really
and
name
years.
any.
I mean, it's not recent, but
years and years. But that's different. Where I mean, like an actual big, complex, multi-layered stories that are going on multiple seasons. Everything is a maximum of 8 episodes at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, when they took House of the Dragon down to 8 episodes, people weren't happy about that.
The first season was 10, wasn't it?
That's correct. And then the second season was 8.
I feel like if you're having a multi-season story, you gotta have each season. Realistically, it's got to be at least 10 episodes.
Well, the reason why they did that, I'm not going to spoil it, but the reason why they brought it down to 8 is because HBO didn't want to have to pay for the battle that would have had to have been at the end of season 2 if it was 10 episodes.
Right.
So they downsized it to 8, and they added a bunch of filler at the end of the season so that it ends right before the battle.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll get
looking forward to seeing that.
When we get to Hot D season 2, we'll get into that.
Oh god. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we begin?
Anywho,
the Hedge Knight.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. Oh my god, it's Aya's horse. I still can't get over that whole horse thing in the end of that episode of The Bells.
Well, we have our first death.
Oh, really? It's Game of Thrones off.
It was the inn boy ate the widow woman's pie. Not me. I told you.
What you?
Jesus.
King's Landing? Lannisport?
No, rich twats live there.
Could join the city watch. Stop raping, sir.
That's what John should have said.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Oh. Goodness
Oh,
gracious.
God. Oh.
I think I get what they were trying to do with that, but I don't know if it was necessary. Because they played the epic Game of Thrones music and then he started taking a shit. It's like, nah, he's not that.
Not really. I'm not really a fan of that sort of.
Well, that is very Lord of the Rings, that style of title.
You do have to be careful, make sure you're really on point with that kind of stuff, because it can make it make it not feel serious enough.
That's true. You don't want it to fuck with the dramatic moments.
And I never knew a joust to change the price of eggs. Bound for the Tony.
Capitalism.
I dreamed of you.
No, not Bran. This is like this particular piece of music is like very different to almost anything you have in the original show.
It's a different composer, that's why.
What?
Doesn't care.
Any knack. This is.
Got a spit cup. I think the worst part about that scene was the spitting cup gag.
Yeah, there is a lot of disgust, isn't there?
Yeah. And so far the humour is sort of like, oh, disgusting stuff.
It might want to try back at Evenfall.
Evenfall.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
He's so awkward.
Yeah, can't talk to women.
Rat.
Jesus.
Yes, it is mine by right.
It's an odd thing to say.
That is an odd thing to say to someone you just met.
Stefan Foster. What matters if the Hedge, I've no doubt. Fucking size of you.
Who was laughing with him? I heard laughter and no one was around him.
Dunk's trying really hard to fit in with like noble speak.
Kinda, yeah.
But he's just it's very obvious that he doesn't get it.
It is mine by right.
Either our job.
Shut up. You're meant to be dead. Find a safer trade, lad.
That's a hell of a puppet.
Great honor.
Whoa!
Well, he likes this one.
You hungry? Always.
I do really like how
That's what happens when you're tall.
Set sort of season 8 to this is sort of like a nice change.
Yeah, I feel like I'm actually there. I feel like I'm in it.
Yeah, and that's just, that's nice.
I've had bad thoughts.
Outside to blood each other with sticks.
Have a little bit of gay fun.
Ooh.
They...
What was I going to say?
You haven't been punched. I believe it.
That why you slouch? So you don't get punched.
He does slouch, I have noticed
Don't
that.
slouch.
What have you brought me?
If he gives him the
Sorry.
For your head. You've come for my head then.
What? No. No.
Do you like dancing?
Doesn't everyone?
He's so awkward.
The swells heave like salt from the air. I don't know. I'm really quite drunk. Thanks.
Sorry.
Oh, I've missed having Baratheons around.
The Lord Father took 800 swords into those mountains. We've forgotten men who reaped much more.
I'm not a super fan of the
wound.
cutaways.
Please, sir.
They don't feel like it's in tone with what else is going on.
Especially this scene.
Throw you over my horse and take you home.
What I'm noticing is like
You
whenever
tried
he's
over
in
at
this
King's Landing.
scene with
You
him,
missed
he's
the
just
planet.
very much
King's Landing.
This is what I need to do, right? Be authoritative towards younger people.
But it's not working, and he doesn't know why yet, but he'll find out.
I think what I enjoy most about the interaction is the fact that he's sort of putting on a shield of like, oh, this is what a knight does.
I'm only a hedge knight.
He's pretending to be noble, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's
noble in the sense of like, I'm like higher than you, therefore I talk down to you. But he sort of can't do it because he's not a bad person.
Go to sleep.
Faint threats.
And Egg knows that. Egg kind of can see just through it easily because he's not very good at.
Because Egg's smarter than Donk, that's why.
Yeah.
Your initial thoughts on the Hedge Knight?
I thought it was fine. I'm not particularly like enthralled with it. There's some stuff that I do really like, but there's also stuff that isn't really clicking for me in terms of, I guess, the tone they kind of clearly want, where it's both fun with seriousness but also really silly. And I think the silliness in parts, like there's few like sort of like gross jokes they've done, and the cutaways have sort of like, yeah, this is not particularly my favourite part of the episode. In fact, they're probably the things I don't like I probably dislike the most. And I think the episode overall, I think not much really happened. It's it's quite slow. It's very slow, I would say, where the initial points, it's very basic, the initial points between this is who Dunk is, kind of going on, like, wandering around now, based on the start, and then to where he ends up at the end. And you can clearly see by the last scene what, I guess, his journey is. You don't really know where he's going, but the idea of the relationship between him and Egg is sort of going to be this season. So yeah, I thought overall it was fine.
And of course the tourney at Ashford as well.
Yes, but that's sort of like what he learnt about that before he learned that when he got to the inn, didn't he?
Yeah, he heard about it, and then of course he went to the meeting to apply
because
for it.
Because he sort of, at the start of the show, his carer died. He buried him, and
Sir Arlen of Pennytree.
Yeah, not someone that people have heard about.
And the one guy who witnessed the knighting was drunk and didn't care. At the end.
Yeah. So, I would say overall, just I guess initial thought is overall fine. Had stuff that I liked in terms of cinematography, lighting, acting was pretty decent. But I think for a first episode, there's not really much to really dig into. I think, unfortunately, it doesn't really hit the ground running, I would say.
Yeah, I think you're right in the sense that the worst thing about it is that it undercuts itself a lot, really, and it's a shame.
I would say it's because I say undercutting. I would say would imply that there's a lot of really serious scenes that undercut with like jokes or stuff. I think the tone is a bit. I don't think the show really tonally knows what it is. I think like in terms of the actual final product, I think the idea is that it's like, oh, it's sort of like some fun, light sort of folk story in a medieval world between a knight who is down on his luck and doesn't really know what he needs to do now. So, yeah. And there's a lot of, like, the cutaways I think I just don't find particularly, like, enthralling or, like, enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they are doing character stuff in it.
Yeah, I think the actual, like, unedited humor that's between actors works a lot better than the
I think the tent
humor.
scene was easily my favourite part of the episode.
Oh, yeah, Lionel Baratheon is great.
Yeah, because the actor, whoever played him, I think did a bang-up job of, like, mixing the sort of drunken, sort of goofy humour of him, but it wasn't, like, annoying.
His name's Daniel Ings. But no, he definitely was well cast. He has... When I see Lionel Baratheon, I'm like, yeah, this guy's definitely related to...
he's from The Gentleman. He's from The Gentleman. I've only watched the first 2 episodes of that, but he's actually really funny in The Gentleman. That's where I know him from. He was also in the Marvels. Oh god.
Oh dear. Oh yeah, I would recognize him from that because I've seen that film. You can definitely tell that this guy is, you know, an ancestor of characters like Robert and Renly. Like, it's that same kind of humor. It's the same kind of playing funny with power. But interestingly, like, he's antagonistic, but only because it's fun for him. But he actually does care, but he's just very honest and blunt about it.
Oh, he was also in Sex Education as Dan.
Oh.
I don't remember that character, but he's done some decent like stuff. Well, I say decent. He's done a lot of stuff in the last sort of like 3 years or so.
Yeah, I feel like he's probably the highlight. Lionel Baratheon, all of that stuff was great, I reckon.
Yeah, that was the tent scene was my favorite part of the episode easily.
Yeah. The puppeteering scene with Tenzel, that setup was nicely done. I really like the way the dragon puppet looks. Like, it looks great.
Oh, that looked awesome. Yeah, I like that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tenzel too tall.
Yeah, the show looks really nice. I really like how the show looks.
Added they added those whore characters, and they had good banter with Dunk because he's just so awkward.
Yeah, it was decent
around
banter. It wasn't like overbearing, like we're smart whores or something. Like, it was just like very simple.
Then of course you've got Raymond and Stephen Fossaway, and it's like, again, it shows the difference in class even between one family. So it's like you've got the rotten apple who's antagonizing Duncan, and then the other guy who is actually making friends with them. It's like one of the only people that are actually kind of showing him respect.
And I would say very basic stuff. Like, it's fine. Nothing like, I would say, super like complex.
It's like a start. It's a start.
Yeah, it's a start. I think the episode just, it needed more. I think you could have done more within 40 minutes. It's very like, it's taking its time, which I think in a 6-episode season, it's missing that big, other than the tendency, it's missing that big sort of like, I think next episode will probably be a lot better. I still think the episode was like fine. I don't really have major qualms of it, other than the cutaways and the sort of, I guess, gross gags.
Do like the idea that because Dunk doesn't really have many friends at the start, he talks to his horse, which again, it's like talking to your animals is a thing that some people do. I mean, I do it sometimes just for a laugh.
Yeah, I think that was a good way of getting across sort of character stuff, because he feels more confident because he's probably done it a lot in his life, and that's sort of the most like, I think that part of Dunk, I think Dunk is probably the strongest part in terms of like initial character, because you get the sort of different conversations he has with different people depending on who they are. Whether it's Egg, where he feels like he needs to be a knight and do things that knights say that he knows, but doesn't really understand why they say it, because they're kind of probably not good people.
Yeah, and like Egg can tell that it's shallow, but he still likes Dunk anyway because he understands the intention.
Then you get the conversation he has with his horses, where it's the most confident he is, and he actually speaks properly, like how he just speaks. Then you get the initial scene with him and Baratheon, where he's sort of nervous at first, but as the night goes on, he feels more confident. They actually have an actual like conversation. A drunk conversation, but a conversation nonetheless.
But he wears a stag crown.
Yeah, it's very much two guys meet for the first time at a pub, get drunk, have fun, then have a deep conversation, and then that's sort of it. That's it.
Yeah, I love the idea that like if the way Lionel Baratheon says that like if you're not here to give me something, then you're here for my head, and it's the idea that only nobles enter this tournament that have money. And Dunk is like dirt poor and can't afford to give anything.
Yeah, he's homeless. He doesn't have anything other than the stuff on his back.
And so they're setting up the idea that Dunk is, you know, going into a tourney. He can't ransom his horse. He doesn't have the access to training that the Highborn have. He's putting a lot on the line against people who are privileged. I think that's a really good like setup for he's taking quite a bold risk doing this, but it's like he's got nothing else to do. He just has to do something that a knight would do, because that's kind of all he has. Otherwise, he's just going to starve and You know, like he says at the start, if he sells his horses, he can eat for a year, but then he'll have nothing else. So he wants to do something of value, but he's aiming for something quite high. Like the tourney at Ashford is quite a prestigious tournament with people coming from all over Westeros to fight in it.
One thing I want to point out, I think, in terms of the editing, I noticed quite a bit. I think the continuity editing was quite poor. There was a lot of times where characters were in one like stance, and then while the next shot it's similar, it was very different. I noticed that a few times. I think the continuity was a bit off. It was a bit distracting.
Yeah, I wonder. I am curious if there's a bit more of an amateur team on this in some areas.
Possibly, yeah. Because I noticed that between like a lot of, especially the tent scene, had a lot of different sort of like, while the actors were in a similar position, it wasn't like there's one point where Lenley is like he's got the knife in his hand and he's pointing it to the left, and then the next shot he's pointing forward. I noticed that quite a bit. So yeah, True. Continuity I think it was a little bit distracting. But I think, like I said before, I think the show looks really nice. I really like how the show looks and how it's not trying to be complex, but it's doing basic stuff pretty well in terms of actual shots.
Well, it's certainly a breath of fresh air after season 8, I'll say that.
Where when you can actually see scenes when it's at night. You can actually see what's happening.
And also, I kind of like the idea that Dunk is faced with all these conundrums he's not used to and doesn't know how to react to, but by the time he gets to meet Lionel Baratheon, he's starting to learn how to play along with it.
That's sort of his journey, I guess, will be sort of like he's having to do stuff on his own. He's sort of not like having to let people do things. He's having to do it himself. Like he's like leaving the house for the first time, but he's an adult. I really do like the line of like the talk he had about him slouching, but you know, he'd been told you should be tall, and then by the end he's like, "I am Sir Duncan the Tall."
That's right.
I thought that was a nice little bit I liked, and it'll be about him being confident. Yeah.
Because you know he gets Duncan from like Egg calls him Duncan, and then Lionel Baratheon he gets the tall from him. So it's like, my name has, and he got Sir from Alna Pellingtree. So it's like his name now represents like 3 people who've impacted him in a way. I guess it's interesting to like, yeah. There's like a really, I guess it's one thing throughout the episode that is interesting is the way that it kind of does innocent lying. There's a lot of innocent lying.
Because it comes from a lack of confidence, I guess.
And also, like, Dunk walks into a tent and he sees a woman who's taller than usual, and he's like, oh my god, someone close to my height. There is hope in the world for love.
It's sort of like I took that bit where he watched the play as sort of like, it's something out of like his perception of the world, like dragons and sort of mythical stuff, and he was like sort of awed by it, and was awed by the person sort of telling the story, because she looked when she did that, and then when she bowed, she looked sort of awkward.
Yeah.
So like she's not super confident, but she's still doing it, and I guess Dunk, the way I took it was that Dunk saw that, or at least had a feeling about that, of like, despite not being super confident, she did it anyway.
That's right. It's sort of like she understands what she's doing. She's an expert of what she's talking about, but she doesn't. She struggles with that validation, I guess, because she's not.
Or even just like public speaking in that regard, you know, could be a more. Yep. I imagine that might be if she's an actual character, or that was just sort of like a little bit for Dunk. I guess we'll see.
I also find the music quite refreshing. It's a different composer.
I actually really enjoyed the music. I thought that the soundtrack was actually like, there wasn't a lot of the music, but when it was around, I think it was suited to what was happening.
What I thought was interesting about it is that it kind of it has that Westeros sort of idea, but it's more humble. It's not as epic.
It's more folk music, I would say.
Yeah.
That's what I got from it. This is more like I sort of assumed this is what the show was kind of going to be, was that it's a lot more, like we said, grounded. I think the concept of what the episode was, I'm super game for. I think I just needed a bit more. Needed a bit more character, needed a bit more sort of like enticing sort of like engagement of like, ooh, what is this show going to be? It's about a guy going his way around the world for the first time on his own.
Yeah, time might heal that.
Yeah.
With more episodes. It's a slow show, but, you know, that over time could change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my takeaway from it is kind of exactly what I've been hearing from a lot of people I follow, is that it does a lot of things right, but the main thing it gets wrong is just the edited humor. It just doesn't work. It's too jarring.
No, because it doesn't feel like it was meant to. It always was meant to be a part of it, but it's not executed well. I just don't think it's executed well at all, and I don't think it's really fitting with what the style of the writing is either.
Yeah, because like the idea of we're gonna play the epic Game of Thrones theme and then cut to Dunk taking a shit, like that idea of, oh no, it's not this, it's this. I understand where that comes from, but I just don't think it works. It just doesn't. I just don't think it's land.
a very good. I don't think it's a good visual joke anyway. I don't like it really.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was a bit like, oh god, is this going to be that kind of show? I don't really want it to be that kind of show.
Yeah, I mean, if it was that all the time, it would be insufferable, but it's not.
Oh,
it's not definitely. Like that. There's a lot of really good stuff in there, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I can say is that the characters aren't like damaged by it. I think that's what I would say, is it's more just like presentation humor.
I think tone is just the thing. I think I struggle with the episode a lot.
Yeah, one of the biggest things about it that's really strange is that Dunk talks about Sir Alan a penny tree with meaning, but the way it's presented makes him seem like it's lacking of meaning. So
it's either whether he actually thinks that, or he's just saying that to sort of get by in terms of like, no, I was knighted by a very good knight.
I feel like what they're trying to say is that Dunk in himself believes that Alan was a man of prestige and honor, but the show itself is telling you that Dunk doesn't like see it the way the world sees it. The world would see Alan as like the lowest of the knights. I guess that's what they're trying to say, but I just think the way it does it makes it too silly.
It feels too comedic rather than actually like sort of serious.
Yeah, because when I read this, I didn't get any sort of funny about Alan a penny tree at all. I only got Dunk's perspective, and I was like, okay, well, this guy obviously meant a lot to Dunk, and it's affected him quite grandly. And there was that element of, well, I never heard of this night, were there any witnesses? I got that, but I never got the idea that Alan was like an absolute joke that no one gave a shit about. Like, that's not something I got. And so it feels like that's kind of what they've done, is they've made it seem like Alan like meant nothing to the world and was laughed at, is kind of what they're trying to do. And so Dunk was knighted by the lowest of knights who died like a bitch. Is kind of what they've told us. And I feel like for the show's tone to take the perspective of those highborn characters that are deluded, it's kind of weird. It's weird for a show to pick the side of person that is antagonistic to Dunk. It's that to me is strange. It's strange that it's done that. It's kind of done the opposite of what I would have expected. So yeah, that's my biggest complaint about it, is the tone and sort of the cutaways. Yeah, but at the same time,
big on it.
At the same time, they have gotten across a lot of the really good things about it as well.
You just sort of want it to do more of that, more than anything. You just want more of that.
Yeah.
And hope it doesn't sort of like go one way or the other on the sort of like tone. You just want it to be like, this is what the tone is, and it's sticking to this. So, and then we're going to do what we're really good at, which is sort of like Dunk experiencing things and learning things.
Yeah.
And sort of morphing like, into a confident.
As you say, like in that tense scene with Lionel Baratheon, there are lots of funny moments, but they're actually really well done. They fit well with the story.
Because the actors are doing a good job. Because I think the actor for Lenny is like really good. I think he did a really good job for what he had as material. Like his delivery of like just like fucking what was I gonna say?
Yeah. He's trying to do this epic speech and then he forgets what it was. And
yeah,
then
but it's like
"Oh,
it's
fuck
actually
it."
like really, but it's like real. It's just like fucking hell. What was I gonna say?
You know what it kind of reminds me of, that whole thing of like 100 gold dragons to whoever can stab me. It reminds me of like Robert when he wants to be in the joust and he's like, come on, I want to hit somebody.
Bow, you shits.
Yeah, I love Baratheon swagger, and I think it's a great contrast to Dunk's awkwardness, because Lionel Baratheon is so confident in himself. Like there's no hesitation at all.
He's confident in the sense of like he just doesn't care. He doesn't take things super seriously. But
well, he's like, I have all this power, so I'm just gonna have fun with it. And also another thing about him that makes him very Baratheon is that he is an alcoholic.
Oh yeah, Boogie's a fun drunk.
Yeah. I love that whole thing of like Dunk is laying out the stakes and like everything he's come to learn about the tournament and his chance, and like how he's completely on the back foot at odds, and then Lionel's just like, oh yeah, no, you have no chance.
Yeah, that drunk conversation is like a really decent like little. It's sort of Dunk opening up for sort of the first time to someone else that wasn't a horse.
It also having like knowing the actual like spoilers about the story. It's interesting watching it, sort of knowing what the truth is about some of these characters and like how Dunk doesn't understand what's happening. And like Dunk does things in this episode where I'm like, it's really funny that he did that, because if he knew the truth, he wouldn't have. So there is that going for it as well. In hindsight, it'll make it interesting to rewatch.
Yeah. I hope this episode ages better.
There's definitely like 2 or 3 moments that I would say would, given like context of knowing the truth. For sure. There's things about it that Dunk doesn't know that get revealed to him later, and then when you look back at it, you're like, oh, really? That's what happened.
Yeah, I guess overall I would say, as a first episode of a show, I think it's just okay.
Would you say it has potential?
Oh yeah, I'd say it definitely has potential. I just think it needs to sort of... It kind of needs to go in a direction that I think where its strengths lies, and I think kind of just move past the weaker parts, but I don't think it will. I think it will still have those cutaways. I think there'll be the same sort of like drunken, gross gags that don't really work.
I know that George Martin said he didn't understand like the shit joke. Like he just thinks it's strange. Like he wasn't a fan of it.
I think the joke is that oh, we're playing the Game of Thrones theme. No, he's actually having a shit. And I think that's all the joke is. It's just to be subversive and, in their eyes, funny because it's gross and subversive. We
haven't gotten to a point where the jokes are breaking the characters, thankfully. That's not happened.
No, because the jokes are about the characters, they're of who they are, not them actually trying to make jokes.
Yeah. It's like, when you look at all of those edited scenes and you just disregard the humor, like all those moments make sense. It's just that it's the way they're presented, really. That's kind of the issue.
Yeah, I guess I don't really have that much else to say on the episode, because I just don't think there's you kind of talked about everything of every aspect of it, I think, because it's not a whole lot going on.
Yes, I'm very curious to see how they handle this going forward. I am aware that some of those jarring moments do happen throughout the season, so we'll just have to like trek through them. But I hope that the kind of care that they've done to characters like Dunk and Egg and Lionel Baratheon in this episode carries through to all the other characters that turn up for the rest of the season.
I think as starting blocks, that was done fine enough.
Yeah, I hope more of that will be there. Yeah, I will say, the one thing I will say is that when we get to because having read this, there are actual serious moments in this story that I know about. I really hope they don't fucking try to make a joke out of those scenes, like the really important big moments that are serious.
Not, yeah, I would hope not. Yeah.
Because those scenes are those scenes need to be handled with care. Otherwise, that could be a massive detriment to the show if they fuck those scenes up.
I would say if I was to give it like a rating as a first episode, I'd probably say like a 6 or maybe a 5.5. It's around that ballpark, I would say. There's stuff I like, but there's also stuff that I'm not super fan of, and also not a lot super happened.
I think I'd say 6.5. There's bits in here that you won't know about because you obviously don't know the real context yet. In hindsight, you'll probably look back on and go,
on what I've seen.
Yeah. There's, as I said, there's little bits in there that they did really well, like subtle things they did really well that in hindsight you'll look back on and go, oh, that was clever.
I think this episode, in terms of the first episode, I think just as it is, I think it obviously will, you look upon it better upon further knowledge. I think just as of itself, I think it's just perfectly fine.
If it wasn't for the fact that like all those cutaways and all that humor was so jarring, this would probably be like more like 7.5 or 8 for me. But I think that is what drags it down most for me.
I would say if they didn't have that, this would probably be a solid 6.
The second episode is called Hard Salt Beef.
Hope for more in-depth character stuff, and obviously if some stuff can be revealed later from this episode, maybe that will make this age better. I think as a starting point, fine. Absolutely fine. A lot of potential, you can go through it. And I hope for more of the stuff that I really liked, and less the stuff I did not like.
Yeah. Having, like, with the very little I've seen of House of the Dragon, this is very different to that. House of the Dragon is, like, the opposite in terms of what it's doing compared to this. House of the Dragon's, really, really serious, all about the royals and the nobles, super, like, big-time higher-ups, and just, like, all the characters are really, like, you know, like, really rich and well-read and powerful, and it's like, lots of castles and whatnot. It's almost like they've with these two shows, they've decided to go completely opposite directions of this world, is what it feels like to me. But of course, when we get to Hot D, we'll be able to talk about that. And that should be really interesting, especially Season 1, because I've heard that the first half of Season 1 is fucking great. We will see you all next time for Hard Salt Beef and the Squire. I bid you adieu, a good night, and a goodbye.